I'm making this video because a lot of intermediate players get told a lot. And when I say intermediate, it's like anywhere from red ranks to Tekken King. They get told a lot to sidestep more by coaches, by other players, people that are better than them. But the biggest confusion that people have with sidestepping is they don't really understand when to use it or how to use it, which makes them very scared because to them, it seems like they're always getting clipped. Like you can probably relate if you're the target audience for this video. Like you don't want to sidestep much because you're afraid of getting clipped, you don't want to get launched. There's a lot of situations where you should not sidestep, and not a lot of videos go over those situations. So I wanted to make this video to go over kind of all the types of sidesteps that you can do, when to sidestep, and finally, and I would say the most important thing is actually incorporating that into your game plan, because that is the hardest part, and that's something that people, I swear they don't teach it. So this is a video for you. And I know, like, before we start, I'm gonna get comments like, oh, like, you have spin, you made Yoshi, you don't actually know how to sidestep, this is bullshit. Well, Yoshi actually has the third worst sidestep in the game after Kuma and the bears, and I use it a lot, and it takes a lot of, like, careful timing to use it because my sidestep is so bad. So even though spin is strong and I use it all the time, I'm sidestepping way more than I'm spinning, especially after the nerfs, which makes me, I would say, qualified to talk about this because the sidestep is so bad and I'm still using it all the time. So there are three types of sidestepping. There's immediate stepping, fuzzy stepping, and anti-string stepping. So just brief description and I'll go a bit deeper into each of these. So immediate stepping is just landing a poke and then going into a step. So whenever you're around like +3 to -3, doing a sidestep will discourage fast, like immediately timed options. And I'll kind of show you what that looks like, at least on the defensive side. So I have this double jump to doing jab into move, and a sidestep block will either sidestep it completely or just block it, which is a super advantageous position for you to be in. On the defensive side, immediately stepping after you land a poke or have a poke blocked that has like small minus frames, like my down forward 4, uh, will discourage the immediate option. So down forward 4 into sidestep, down forward 2, they're dead. Down forward 1 into sidestep, or down forward 1 into side walk, I can launch and kill them. Or even jab into sidestep. Essentially, doing this immediately timed sidestep discourages these similarly immediately timed options after a slight frame advantage or disadvantage, which is super, super useful because now if I've shown this Deviljin that I'm going to step every single time that I have my down forward 1 blocked, maybe he starts using tracking tools which are slow and can be counter hit launched. Maybe he just stops attacking altogether and now my +3 turns into +50 because he's not actually pressing buttons, and now I have a free mix. The mind game off of the immediately timed sidestep sets you up for all of these situations, but I'll get into that a bit deeper later. Just one very quick side note, you don't need to know if you're +3 or -3 to the exact T. Just as a general rule, like if you block something, you can step. If you get hit by something, you can't. It's like a jab is +8 on hit. Like you do not want to be stepping on -8. The second type of stepping is called fuzzy stepping, and this is just to discourage someone's best approach options at a certain range, like running kicks, approaching kicks, stuff like Electric Wind God Fist, or even Demon Paw. Just figure out what your opponent's long range tools are weak to, and you'll be able to find this online kind of anywhere, or you could lab it. And just show your opponent, I will be stepping at this range. I will be step blocking, and if you try stuff, you might die for it. And just to demonstrate a little bit. So for an example, I'm going to show you that it works versus like Nelvigen's biggest approach tools like forward forward 2 and electric, but it is risky. Like if I mistime it, I can get clipped, or if I mistime it, then it can land on my block. And that just goes to show like this isn't for every situation. Like I certainly wouldn't be doing this if I'm on HP lead, but if I'm at an HP deficit and I want to take a risk in order to get a big launch, this is definitely something that I'm going to be representing. And the last type of stepping is not super important. It's just something that you lab, and it's stepping in strings, so anti-string stepping. And there's certain strings that are designed to be stepped, like this string from Double Gin. But this is stuff that you learn in the lab or watch a video on, so I'm not going to go over it right now. So going into immediate stepping again, this is definitely the most important type of stepping, and it's because it gives you actual frames. And I'll kind of go over what that means. So if I'm doing a flowchart like jab into sidestep, it beats most immediate timing moves like jab, down forward one, and I can get a launch off of these things. Because of that, if I represent this a lot, like jab into sidestep block, first of all, it's low risk. Like even if I get clipped, I'm blocking. So it's really nice. Once you do enough of these, sidesteps, people are gonna start doing homing moves. And first of all, if they're slow enough, like Devil Jin's 17 frames, you can still sidestep block them. So you're still not at risk of dying. And what you can do is because you know these moves are slow, you can do stuff like counter hits, or jab to hop kick to counter hit whatever they're doing. Essentially, we've created a plus frame scenario. We created a plus like 7 scenario from a +1 jab because we started representing the sidestep block. And what are the risks that we've taken? We've taken negligible risk. Of course, there's ways to beat sidestep blocking, but it is extremely hard. And I'll kind of go over how to beat it at the end of the video. But in general, people that win games usually sidestep block more. That's because it is the lowest risk way in Tekken 8 to get plus frames on somebody. Just some side notes, I have a Discord. You could play games with me and ask any questions you want. The link is in the description. So please join, it's free. Please subscribe. And yeah, I have a Twitter too, so make sure to follow. In my Discord later this week, I will be streaming my climb to top 10 Yoshis in North America. Right now, I'm number 39. I don't have many games. I have to change that this week. So yeah, tune in for the stream. There's a concept in fighting games called Layer 1, Layer 2, Layer 3. And that just means like my first strategy gets beaten by a certain counter strategy. So that's Layer 1. So my Layer 2 will beat the counter to my Layer 1 counter strategy. So I've kind of demonstrated the basis of that layer system with this sidestep demonstration. Like I do a jab and it beats immediate buttons. So their Layer 2 is doing like a homing move. And my counterplay to their Layer 2 is using a counter hit move. So I've built like a super solid offensive game plan off of the lowest risk move in the game, which is sidestep blocking. And that is why sidestep blocking on immediate timings is broken in Tekken 8. I'm +7, +8 off of a single jab. It is a ridiculous situation. So just demonstrating it on the defensive side as well, if I represent this sidestep, it forces my opponent to do slower options with better tracking. So, if I'm sidestepping their down forward one or demon pod mix, Yoshimitsu's sidestep is actually not good enough to sidestep this, but in general, most characters will be able to. But you kind of get my point. This will force people into doing options that will actually hit you, like Devil Jin's down back 2. This will hit my sidestep block. But look at the risk that he takes. That's a 21 frame move. That's a low, which takes more risks. And now, if he does that, I can start hop kicking. I can start doing rage Rs. I can even do a counter hit launcher. Yoshimitsu, so I can flash. We all love that move. I can flash. I can even disrespect completely. There's so much that I can do now. So many frames that I have. Because I've started to disrespect with my sidestep block and they have to respond in kind. In general, sidestep blocking is broken because it takes a lot of effort for someone to beat it. So, but it takes no risk for the person doing it to do it, kind of. So, for example, like if I'm doing down forward 1 into down forward 1, I'm dead. If I do down forward 1 into jab, I'm dead. If I'm doing down forward 1 into down forward 2, I'm dead. And that took 0 risk from them. What do I actually need to do to beat this? I need to do down forward 1 into realign, which is a neutral situation. Down forward 1 into a low that tracks that direction. Down forward 1 into a fast homing mid that might not even hit because they're sidestep blocking too fast. Or like an even more committal homing low, which some characters have. So all of these options that I've shown are either punishable on block, like this tracking move is I-14, which is fast enough to beat a sidestep block, but it's -13 on hit. It's punishable. This is a I-18 low. This is a I-19 low, I-18 low that comes from full crouch. All of these options are super risky to do. And that's why sidestep blocking is so important, because you can force your opponent to make these shitty choices. Because now, if I do down forward 1 and I'm trying to beat the sidestep, and I'm doing down back 3-3 like this low, what the Devilgen can do instead is just counter hit me with anything. This move is hella slow, and I'm already minus on block. So that's why sidestep blocking is super good both on offense and defense. It forces the opponent to do a slow response to beat it, which makes it inherently low risk and high reward. Just to add further detail on why homing moves don't even beat sidestep blocking, is because, first of all, homing moves are slow. Like, this is pretty fast for a homing move. It's I-16. I think the fastest homing moves are like I-13 highs. And the fastest homing mids that are safe generally are like I-16 to I-17. These moves, if you sidestep block correctly, are pretty tricky to step. So this is a +1 situation into an I-16 homing move, which is decent. It may hit, but if you're on like a -4 situation, like off of my down forward 1, this is never gonna hit. And my homing mid is 20 frames. This is never ever going to hit. Homing moves are generally for beating side blocks and fuzzy steps, not for beating sidestep blocks. Just to clear up any confusion that can occur. If someone is doing homing moves to beat your sidesteps, just make sure that you're sidestepping when they're minus, or just hit them with a counter hit launcher. So I'll give you guys a really, really simple demonstration on how to apply this into your game. So on the defensive side, like, I'm gonna have this Devilgen do like jab into down forward, just, you know, as you know, super common. Maybe he starts counteracting with down back 2, right? So down forward 1. Now the next time he does a jab situation, I'll just hop kick. I've looked at this situation. I understand this situation. And even though sometimes I can get hit out of the air because I'm obviously disrespecting my minus frames, there's a chance that my disrespect option, because I've carefully crafted it to beat what they'll do with high reward, will just win the game on its own. That round is over. Like, I hit them with the hop kick here, the round is over. On the offensive side, what this poke into sidestep flowchart can do is it sets you up for bigger moves. So say someone's jab checking you a lot, like you jab, they jab, you poke, they poke, right? What you can do is, if you represent sidestep in this situation, now, and you punish them for doing a fast button, like something like that, the next time you do a jab, they're not going to press back, or they might not press back because they're scared. And now that lets you use big moves like a slash kick, like a wall running kick. These are very good moves. These are, you know, usually +5 with chip damage with big reward on hit. The risk comes from the startup frame. Like, this is I think I-22. But if I know that they're not going to press because I discourage the fast button, now I get to do more wall running threes, which means I'm using better moves than the opponent, which means I win the game at a higher probability than they do. I know that was a lot, but essentially, if you're using good moves, you win more games. Good moves are slow. So how do you set up for slow moves? You do the sidestep blocking after a poke. And that's how you win games. And just like a final note to intermediate players that are super scared about getting clipped, just don't sidestep when you're on a big frame disadvantage, and you generally won't get clipped. If you do get clipped, it means you stepped the wrong way, or they used a move that successfully tracks to that direction. What can you do about that? In general, though, like, sidestep blocking is super low risk unless you're doing it after you get hit. So I'll give you an example. So I'll mash into, if I try to sidestep during like a +8 situation, first of all, it's hard to input because you get jump a lot on like a -8, and you will get clipped almost 100% of the time. Just try not to mash sidestep when you're under pressure unless you've blocked something. Once you have that block frame advantage or minor frame disadvantage, then you can impose a sidestep mind game. If someone is +8 on you, they are going to mix you up. That it is there mix up and there's nothing you can do about it. So just allow it and instead get your side steps in when they matter, which is a -3, -4 to +3, +4 situation. And sidestepping goes way in more depth than that. Like there's side walking, which by the way, I generally don't recommend in Tekken 8 for a few reasons, which I won't go over in this video. There's stepping on -8, which is sometimes useful because maybe someone likes to do like I-25 to I-30 moves after after they have like some kind of slight frame advantage, like +5, +8. Uh, there are situations where you want to break the rules that I talked about, but don't try that until you've mastered the basics of sidestepping. Again, the basics of sidestepping, fuzzying at mid-range to discourage their best buttons, immediately stepping to discourage, immediate timings. Once you master that, then you can kind of get into the spicier stuff. But in general, like this is all you need to know to rank up. And it's crazy how effective this pattern is. I see Tekken God Supreme, literally all they do is down forward one into sidestep, especially like Shaheen players. Like they've gotten to Tekken God just by flowcharting down forward one into sidestep into whiff punish. This flowchart, and I'll call it a flowchart because at the end of the day, it's an offensive pattern. It's something that you should choose to do sometimes and choose not to do the other time, and you'll kind of get a grip on when to do it. But in general, like this flowchart is super low risk. It beats low ranks all the time. And I promise, like if you follow this guide, if you listen to it and know when to sidestep, you will win so many more of your games. And yeah, thanks for watching the video. This one took me a while, so make sure to like and subscribe. And yeah, if you want to play games against me, get some advice, ask some questions, join my Discord server. It's free. I don't really have like paid shit right now. I just make these videos for fun. So just come by. We got a growing community. And yeah, hope you guys enjoyed the video.